Why do turtles live so long? Some tortoises alive today were already alive before the invention of the airplane, before 2 world wars, before your great-grandparents were born. One giant tortoise named Jonathan is believed to be over 190 years old, and he is still eating, still mating, still going about his slow, unbothered life on a small island in the Atlantic. Meanwhile, most animals our size or bigger are lucky to see 30 or 40 years. So what is actually happening inside a turtle that lets it outlive almost every other creature on Earth? Let's set the rules first. We are not just talking about surviving a long time by avoiding predators. We are talking about biological longevity, the actual internal aging process running slower than it does in nearly every other animal. We will look at 3 things: how their cells age, how their bodies are built, and what scientists have found when they've actually studied turtle biology up close. No folklore, no guesses. Just what the research shows. Start with the basics. A mouse ages fast and dies around 2 or 3 years old. A dog might make it to 15. Humans, if we're fortunate, reach 80 or 90. But many turtle and tortoise species blow past all of that. Giant tortoises regularly live over 100 years. Some box turtles have been documented living past 50 in the wild, and likely much longer than that in cases we've simply never tracked long enough to confirm. Why would a slow-moving reptile with no claws, no venom, and no real speed end up outlasting almost everything that could eat it? The first clue came from a massive study published in 2022 in the journal Science. Researchers led by biologist Rita Da Silva analyzed aging data from 107 species of reptiles and amphibians, including dozens of turtle species, kept in zoos and wildlife facilities around the world. What they found surprised almost everyone in the field. Around 75% of the turtle species studied showed what scientists call negligible senescence. That means their risk of dying does not meaningfully increase as they get older. A 100-year-old tortoise, biologically speaking, is barely more fragile than a 50-year-old one. Compare that to humans, where your risk of death roughly doubles every 8 years past adulthood. Turtles seem to have found a way to almost sidestep that curve entirely. How is that even possible? Let's escalate into the science, because the answer starts at the cellular level. Every time a cell divides, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes, called telomeres, get a little shorter. Eventually, they get so short that cells stop dividing properly, and that is a major driver of aging in most animals, including us. But research on several turtle species has found something unusual. In some turtles, telomeres shorten extremely slowly, or in certain tissues, barely at all, over decades of life. Their bodies also produce unusually high and stable levels of an enzyme called telomerase, which helps rebuild those protective caps instead of just letting them wear down. It is one of the reasons a 100-year-old turtle's cells can still look and behave far younger than you'd expect. But slow-aging cells are only half the story. The second piece is metabolism. Turtles are ectotherms, meaning they rely on their environment, not internal furnaces, to regulate body temperature. That sounds like a disadvantage, but it comes with a hidden perk. Their metabolic rate runs dramatically slower than a same-sized mammal's. A slower metabolism means fewer damaging byproducts called reactive oxygen species building up inside cells over time, sort of like an engine that runs cooler, producing less wear on its own parts. Some turtle species take this even further. Certain freshwater turtles can survive months of near-total inactivity during winter, some even going without oxygen for extended stretches while buried in mud, essentially pressing pause on their own biology until conditions improve. Few other vertebrates could survive that. What does it do to a body that shuts down and restarts like that year after year? Then there's the immune system, which is where things get even stranger. A study on painted turtles found their immune defenses do not seem to weaken with age the way ours do. In humans, the immune system gradually loses effectiveness, making older people more vulnerable to infection and slower to heal. Painted turtles studied in their 80s showed immune markers barely different from turtles decades younger. Their bodies also appear remarkably good at suppressing runaway cell growth, which may help explain why cancer, one of the leading causes of death in aging humans, is documented far less often in long-lived turtle species relative to their lifespan. Now here's the twist most people don't expect. It is not that turtles have one single miracle trait. It is that evolution stacked several slow-aging systems on top of each other, all at once, in the same animal. Slow metabolism, resilient telomeres, a stable immune system into old age, strong internal defenses against uncontrolled cell growth. Combine those and you get a creature whose body essentially refuses to hit the same aging wall that hits nearly everything else. Researchers studying this call it one of the most extreme examples of what's known as negligible senescence ever documented in a vertebrate. There's a reason for this, evolutionarily. Turtles put a huge amount of biological investment into their hard, protective shell. That single adaptation dramatically lowers their chance of dying from predation once they reach adulthood. And when nature reduces the chance of an early violent death, it tends to also select for bodies built to keep functioning for a very long time, because there's actual evolutionary payoff in staying alive and reproducing for decades. Compare that to something like a mouse, which is under constant threat from predators. Evolution has no reason to build a mouse that can live to 80, because almost no mouse will ever get the chance to use that kind of longevity. A turtle, protected inside its shell, might actually get that chance, so its biology evolved to take advantage of it. Now bring that back to us. We spend billions of dollars trying to understand why humans age, why our cells eventually give out, why our risk of disease climbs every decade after 50. And it turns out one of the most compelling clues might be crawling around in a garden or floating in a pond right now, aging at a pace we still don't fully understand. Scientists studying turtle telomeres and their unusually stable immune responses are already exploring whether any of these mechanisms could ever inform human anti-aging research. That is still early, still uncertain, but the fact that it's even on the table tells you something. So why do turtles live so long? Not because they got lucky, not because they simply move slow and stay out of trouble. It's because millions of years of evolution built them a body with a metabolism that barely wears down, an immune system that barely fades, and cells that resist the very decay that defines aging in almost every other creature on the planet. The next time you see a turtle slowly making its way across the grass, you're not just looking at a slow animal. You might be looking at one of the closest things nature has ever built to biological immortality.